All right, so we're welcoming you into Humbabe podcast, a new podcast that we're going to start up. We're going to try to go once every week, maybe twice every 2 weeks. Or once every 2 weeks, depending on how we feel, how much we can get done. And I think it's gonna be mainly a baseball podcast. Right, Alex? Is that right?
Yep, mainly baseball with a little insight from other sports as well. Whenever we feel like we want to talk about it.
College basketball, football, maybe some regular basketball,
Yep,
NASCAR, even, right?
NASCAR. Gotta have NASCAR.
So yeah, that's about right. That's about what the podcast is going to be. And can't wait for baseball season to start. So we'll try to get some stuff done before the season starts. Today's going to be just kind
Sure.
of, we'll go over some free agency, our favorite prospects and breakout players, and then what other stuff are we going to get done before the season starts.
We gotta go over our predictions, award predictions, our record predictions, and off-season grades once spring training starts.
Yeah, so
And power rankings, I guess, to our top 30 teams. Can't forget about power rankings.
our rankings are crucial so that idiot Twitter people can debate them and make mistakes.
And some futures. Some futures. There's some.
So let's get started. So you want to start up? Should we go over free agency first?
Okay. What's your favorite? You can go first.
Yeah, so I think my favorite move obviously there's some big moves over the off season, like Judge getting signed, but he was either going to go Yankees or Giants. He went Yankees. Doesn't really surprise me so much. Of course, DeGrom going to the Rangers is a big move. But I think my favorite move is the Cubs getting their guy, getting Dansby Swanson. The Cubs, I think, had a really underrated offseason, really one of the better off seasons. I think Swanson is really an elite shortstop. I think he's going to help the Cubs maybe compete for the postseason this year, come up close, and I think he'll be big in their future. So that's my favorite move of the deadline. I got some other ones that I'd like to. But what's your favorite move?
Well, first off, before I talk about my favorite move, I disagree with your take. I do not believe Dansby Swanson can be counted as a marquee free agent signing. I'll go say he's an average player. He's an average player. He had a great year last year, going F4 and B WAR, over 6 WAR in both sites. But man, I just don't know if he's gonna be able to repeat it. I mean, in his last season was the second time he's only had an OPS plus over 100. And even though he was technically the best defensive shortstop in baseball, I mean, those things vary year to year. I mean, Carlos Correa in 2021, he won the Platinum Glove with a 20-something OAA. And this year, he regressed. His OAA was terrible this year. Not terrible, but it definitely wasn't 20 plus. So, I mean, I don't know. I think in Swanson, you're getting maybe a perennial 2 or 3 WAR player. Not someone I would give over 150 million to.
Gotta disagree. 21 outs above average, elite power. Well, I mean, obviously he's not going to lead the league in home runs, but great power. He's going to hit for a decent average. Going to play an elite defensive shortstop. What else are you going to ask for? Obviously, you're going to have other guys better than him at the shortstop position.
I think his floor is limited in terms of his offensive ceiling because he just doesn't walk enough, and he strikes out, I would say, a decent amount for a shortstop. I think he's a barely league average bat.
I don't think he's league average bat. I think he's definitely an above average to elite bat, and I think that he can only improve from here. I think we're going to see the turn of Dansby Swanson, an elite shortstop. I think the Cubs got their guy. I think he was really underrated on the Braves. Had some really quality years on the Braves. And actually, I was going to guess this earlier, but I just want to say it now. Can you name the only player to have more outs above average of any position than Dansby Swanson?
Easy. Jonathan Scope, Detroit Tigers, second base.
Go. Former Oriole, you gotta mention it. I actually surprised me.
Best defensive season by far his best defensive season.
I didn't remember him being good defensively at all before. I mean, I know he had a strong arm. I didn't remember him at all being very good
He's not
defensively.
gonna have. He's not gonna have a 20. How many outs above average does he have?
27 outs above average.
27.
He's
Oh
not.
my god. He's not even gonna top. He's not even top 10 this year. That's my prediction.
I mean, I wouldn't shock me if he doesn't. I'm disappointed in his offense. I know he can be a really good offensive player, or he used to be. Recently, he can't hit at all. He strikes out a ton. Not even getting the same amount of home runs, but whatever.
All right. Well, my favorite off-season signing wasn't a guy that got 100+ million, but he got a decent amount of money. I thought he'd get more, to be honest.
I think Dansby Swanson should have gotten. I think Dansby Swanson's better than Bogarts. I think Dansby Swanson should have got over two.
Oh my god. No way, bro. No way.
He's better than Bogarts.
I can't believe you just said that.
Bogarts is not. If anything, I mean, Bogarts is. I'm not gonna say Bogarts is league average. He's above league average, but Swanson's even better. So. Yeah,
No, not even close. Not even close. Not even close. I can't believe those words just came out of your mouth. Okay, well, my favorite off-season signing wasn't a guy that got $100 million. I thought he'd get more. If I had to predict at the beginning of off-season what he would have gotten, I would say 6 years, 120 million. Only got 5 years, 87 million. It's Wilson Contreras on the Cardinals. He fills the void of Yadier Molina, and the backups for St. Louis, Andrew Kisner, and top catching prospects Ivan Herrera. You just cannot enter the season with a catching tandem that bad and unproven as well. Like Andrew Kisner, oh my god, look at his numbers. He's got to be one of the worst backups in the league. And plus, Yadier Molina in his farewell season wasn't even that good at all. He can barely swing the bat. He was average offensively, which I don't blame. He's 39 years old. He's a catcher. He has no knees left. So I know there's some questions about Wilson Contreras' defense. I think that's overrated. I mean, he has a monster arm. Game calling, you can use pitch calm. It's not as important as it used to be. And in terms of his defense, I believe robo-umps are going to be coming soon, so it won't be that big of a factor. But you're getting a top three. You're getting a top three offensive bat at the catcher position in Wilson Contreras. So that's my favorite
Can we
move
just
off
talk
season.
robo-umps for a second? Because you are right, they are common. And the robo-umps just disappoint me. It's such a big part of the game, the framing, defensive, being at the skill of a defensive catcher, changing the position. It's such a skill to be a good defensive catcher. It's just part of the game. Umpires are going to miss calls. It's part of the game. People saying, "Oh, we don't want to see missed calls from umpires," just pissing me off. No, it's part of the game. It's part of baseball. It's part of sports. Like to see an umpire, it's not even a real umpire. To see a machine rack up strikes, it's just stupid. It doesn't make. It's not good for baseball. It's not good for the game. You want to see the framing. You want to see them. That's how you steal strikes. That's how you become a good team. Working with the umpire, adjusting to their zone, offensively and defensively. And as a pitcher, you see what the umpire's doing. If he's calling outside corner, you're going to throw outside corner. It's pissing me off that they're going to go robo up, and I know they will. It's only a couple seasons probably before they do it. They have it in AAA next season. It's a bad look for baseball.
Well, as a Yankees fan, I can say over the past 6 years that Aaron Judge has been in the league, I see him get screwed over on so many low strike calls. So honestly, I disagree. I'm a fan of robo umps, unless you keep the good umpires and you fire the trash umpires. And trash umpires, I'm talking about Angel Hernandez, CB Buckner, they gotta go. If you don't want robo umps, you gotta make sure Pat Hoberg calls every single game, every single big game whenever he can. He needs a bump.
Or Foster.
Yeah, they all need a pay raise. But if
those guys
Buckner is still employed, bro, you gotta go robo umps. I cannot stand these trash umps with no eyes.
Is it not entertaining to watch? A trash. I know Angel Hernandez is calling the game. Are you not going to watch the game?
No, I will. I love baseball that much, but it just ruins. It's just so annoying. It ruins the product, to be honest. There's so many big.
I mean, Judge is getting, no matter who's umpiring, Judge is getting calls below his knees all the time, every game. And look what he still did. He was the MVP, one of the best offensive players I've ever seen.
Imagine what he would produce if some of those balls turns into strikes, or no, some of those strikes are turned to balls, and he gets more walks, or he can see an extra pitch, and you could sock one. You never know.
Yeah, it's going to be a bad day for baseball when they go robo-offs. But I got to go to another move that I really like in the offseason, and it was Kodai Senga going to the Mets. I think this is a really underrated move. I don't really know a ton about Senga honestly, but I saw some video of him pitching in Japan, right? Japan?
Yeah, Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro,
I
his
saw
last name is Senga. Of course, Japan. Kodai Senga. Yeah, Japan.
yeah, Senga.
Yeah.
My bad. Am I pronouncing it wrong?
No. They like, is he from Japan? I was like, yeah, obviously.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Nah, you're chill. You're
But
chill.
but nah, I saw a video. Is it right? He was throwing up to 100 with the
Yeah.
fastball. The mechanics looked smooth. He was absolutely firing, just humbabing it in there. Oh my!
They-
And I loved it. I think he was throwing a splitter. It was reminding me of Kevin Gausman's splitter, and it was really disgusting. I loved that splitter combination from a righty. Change up. He just looked filthy. He looked like just a stud, absolute stud. Adding him to rotation with Verlander and Scherzer, it'll be filthy. I think he's a super underrated player. It's coming over, and I think he'll really help the Mets next season.
Um. Like I've seen his videos before. I've seen his stuff, but man, until I see him do it at the major league level, I can't call it a good signing yet because he's just an unknown. I mean, in Japan they use different balls. They use smaller balls, so I'm sure his stuff is gonna be. It's gonna have to it's gonna decrease a little bit. He's gonna have to adjust to a new culture, new language. It's gonna be a tough transition, especially for the Mets who have World Series aspirations. I He's just an unknown right now. But my second favorite move of the all season, I have to say, honestly, it's happened early in the off season, but I would have to say Teoscar Hernandez for Eric Swanson. The Mariners fleeced the Blue Jays.
Absolutely.
Teoscar Hernandez, Silver Slugger, insane power. That he doesn't have the best plate discipline. He'll strike out, but man, does he change the power dynamic of that lineup? He is a big bat for a Mariners team that is loaded with good relievers. I mean, you got Andres Munoz throwing 103. You
Swanson
got
even
Paul
very good.
Wall, the sidearm slinger. You got Penn Murphy. You got Matt Brash.
Brash is nasty.
Who else am I missing? I know I'm missing someone.
Did you say
Uh,
Seawald?
yeah, I did say Seawald. I know I'm missing
Um,
someone else. I'm missing one more. Murphy, um, Murphy, Seawald, Munoz, Matt Brash. I'm missing someone. All right, I'm gonna go look at it because it's bothering me. Let me search it. Mariners bullpen.
we'll get into the Blue. I thought the Blue Jays had a terrible offseason. I completely agree. It was just a bad move. And the other one, too, that I think you'll say, which was Gurriel and Moreno.
Matt Festa.
Yeah, Fest. Yeah, there it is. I would have, if the Blue Jays didn't, if the Blue Jays kept Hernandez, kept Gurriel, kept Moreno, I'll just say it now. I would have picked him to win the East. Not anymore. Can't pick him.
Yeah. We'll talk about our least favorite moves soon. But what's your last favorite move of all season?
So one more underrated move that I really like is Evaldi to the Rangers.
Oh, I love that too.
So I think Evaldi is, I mean, doesn't get enough credit as he deserves, especially on the Red Sox. I thought he was absolutely filthy. Firing up to 100. That slider's just disgusting. Nasty Nate, that's his nickname, just disgusting. Adding him to a rotation with DeGrom, who I hope he's healthy. It's always bad when DeGrom's healthy. When he's injured, it's a waste of talent, a waste of money. But I mean, I hope he's healthy. I hope he's having a good season because he's untouchable when he's healthy. Him, Evaldi can be. When Evaldi squares up against a team. There's some days where he's untouchable. There's some days where he's just that good, and he's just pounding the zone, pounding strike, strike, strike.
You froze a little bit. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, my bad. I just said, dude, there's some days where Evaldi's just unhittable, where he's just pounding the zone, strike, 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 and you just can't touch him. And him with DeGrom and John Gray, I think the Rangers are going to be a lot more competitive than we've seen from in a lot of years. I think they're building something there. There's a lot of moves in recent years that I really didn't like the Rangers making. especially with Simeon last year, um, and Gallo and a lot of the other trades I just thought weren't the smartest. But I think they're building something in through the draft with Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, and they got some stuff that they can build on.
Yeah, no, I agree. Evaldi, man, he's such an underrated pitcher. I know he dealt with some injuries last year, but when healthy, he is a clear number two in my opinion. His 2021 was amazing. I think he's a good bounce back candidate. Because his home run rates were just completely like different than his career norm. Like his home run rate should decrease just as a result of regression to the mean. And if he's healthy now, um, it'd be a bargain signing. Honestly, he's the second best pitcher in the Rangers in my opinion, behind the ground.
Oh, for
He's
sure.
at number two for a very cheap price.
And in
Um,
Texas, Texas is going to benefit him too.
yeah, of course. So my last favorite offseason move. I'm gonna be maybe I'm a little biased here. I'm gonna go Rodon to the Yankees. Rodon over the past 2 years, ace. If you don't, you tell me he's not an ace, you're just wrong. He is. I think he led the league in F4. He led the NL in F4 this year for pitchers. He is a complete ace. No doubt about it. His stuff ever since 2021 is just completely ticked up. He's throwing harder. He's having pinpoint command, all things he used to struggle with. He's he's shown that he can stay healthy in his 2022 campaign. Obviously, I'm still a little concerned about his health because before that he was literally on the injured list every single year, even 2021. This was the first year he avoided the injured list, and I'm worried about. It's a concern. It is a concern, but if he's healthy at that price, absolute bargain. Absolute bargain for an ace who you can arguably say is better than Garrett Cole.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to ask you if you thought he was better than Garrett Cole. First of all, shout out the core velocity belt. I know that really helped him gain velo,
Or
gain spin rate.
velocity.
Core velocity belt got him right. Yeah, I mean he's a dominant pitch. He's a strikeout beast. He's you riding that four seam fastball up in the zone. I love to see it. That slider off of it. It's a great arsenal, great pitch mix. I think, I mean, it played really well in the NL West, which is a tough division. I think he'll play just as well in the AL East, especially with the balanced schedule this year. It won't even matter as much. Which we'll talk about
Yeah.
this difference in
Yeah.
balance schedule and all the rule changes this year, but we'll get to that eventually. But yeah, Rodon is filthy, left-handed arm, good to have, along with Nestor in the Yankee rotation. And I think there'll be days Cole's dominant, but there's days where just Cole doesn't have it, and he's not ace-like, and he's giving up bombs.
Cole gives up way too many home runs. He's still an ace. He's still an ace. But man, nowadays teams, all they have to do, like, it's hard to string consecutive hits against elite pitchers. The only way to beat them is the home run, and Garrett Cole is just so vulnerable to that. Like, he can go 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, but those 2 base runners, he let them home via home run, and it's just like annoying because I know if the home runs go down, he's a clear silent winner every year, and it's frustrating to watch sometimes.
Now with Rodon, you can look at that Yankee rotation. You can look at Cole, Rodon, Severino. I think is going to have a bounce. Is going to hopefully stay healthy this year. I think he's really good. And Nestor, and then whoever's if Montas is healthy or Clark Schmidt even. I think it's a good year.
Totally agree.
I don't like to make Ramon, but those four especially. That's a dominant four. If they stay healthy, that is
it is a dominant four.
Baseball.
It can easily fall apart though. There's a lot of health questions in that rotation mark, especially Rodon and Severino, in my opinion. So
yeah, for sure. So yeah, what do we?
Should we move on to our breakout players? 3 breakout players.
Breakout players.
Okay, you can go first.
All right, so my first breakout player is going to be a guy who we saw in the World Series and I thought played really well in the World Series, and it's Alec Bohm. And it's a guy who last year we're looking at his WOBA and xWOBA. And I looking at the difference between the two, and he's a guy that really maybe you call it unlucky or didn't hit as well as his expected stats. So really room for improvement there. He's a high batting average guy, which I always like. I like guys that hit for high average that can get on base. So at the beginning of the year, we were having a lot of problems. We remember he got booed in Philly with the 3-error game. And then he said like, "Oh, I don't want to be here," but then he corrected that. And since then, he totally changed who he was, cleaned up the defense. In the World Series, I was so impressed watching him defensively. I thought he was the best defensive player on the field during the World Series. Had a just stellar defensive World Series. One thing he needs to walk more. He needs to get on base a little more. But he's a guy that can hit for power. You look at his swing, really good swing. Guy can definitely step up and have a huge breakout year next season.
I'm just gonna say right now, Alec Bohm is trash. He is garbage. He is.
No, no.
Have you seen?
So
He is such a bad defender that whatever he does offensively, it's just gonna be negated by his terrible defense.
year. Did you see how improved he was defensively? He's cleaning it up.
Ooh, Mr. What -19 DRS, Mr. negative 15 OAA,
Half of the year he cleaned it up.
Mr. 105 OPS plus.
I'm telling you, watch what he's doing. Philly's getting better year after year. He's man down third base. He's gonna be fine. It's his job. He's gonna hit for power. He's gonna hit for average, and he's gonna break out next year and have a great year.
All right, do you think he gets a WAR over 2 next year?
100%. No doubt in my mind.
Oh my god, I will bet you so much money that he does not.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, we'll bet $20. Alec Bohm gets a.
Alec Bohm was gonna have a WAR over.
Which stat? Which Baseball Reference WAR or Fangraphs WAR? Which one? Whatever you want. Whatever you want. He's getting under 2. He's getting under 2. He is 100 OPS, a league average hitter, 100 WRC plus or OPS plus hitter, minus added with this terrible defense is going to be like a 0.5 WAR player. He's terrible.
He's gonna clean up.
Break out my ass. Oh. Alright. So my first breakout, first baseman of the Royals, Vinny Pasquantino. Oh my god. I would say he's already top 10 first baseman, but man, his contact rate and his power combo, he's gonna honestly, if he has a year, the rookie year he had, and just puts it over full season, that's an amazing player right there. I would honestly put his player comp at Freddie Freeman because he has the contact ability, he doesn't strike out much, and he has the same power production that a normal first baseman slugger would have. And he's also a solid defender. He's not a gold glover, but he's not gonna cost you runs back there.
I mean, Vinny P was looking good. I gotta say, he did look good.
Yeah, he looked amazing. He started off slow, but I mean, I remember looking at it over the summer. All of his underlying metrics were just so high. It was just a matter of time before the balls just start finding the right place, and it did. It did. He's ended the season on a tear, absolute tear.
Okay, so I'll go to my second player. I'm going to go to another Royal, and I'm going to go to MJ Melendez, a super utility guy. He's listed as a catcher on Savant.
He's not a catcher, by the way. He's not. He's a terrible catcher.
He can play fine, but he has the ability to catch, which I like.
Ability.
He's super utility.
What happened?
I'll call him a super utility player. He plays basically any position. He shows signs for improvement. Last year's WOBA was 310, ex-WOBA 332. I know he doesn't hit for high average, but he's a really good walk rate. He gets on base. He's a young player. He struggled on the off speed, which is typical of rookies, typical of young players. A lot of times they're going to struggle off speed. They're going to only look fastball. Look for him to adjust. Look for him to get off-season coaching. He's going to adjust. He's going to better hitting off-speed pitches, better hitting breaking balls. He's going to break out. He's going to have a really good year, trust me. And also, defensively, strongest arm from left field. This guy can absolutely sling it. Humbabe from left field, Jesus. And trust me, MJ is going to break out. The Royals have a couple of good pieces to build around.
So my opinion on MJ Melendez, offensively, I love his upside. I remember 2021, he led the minor league in home runs as a catcher. I just have questions about his future defensive position because he's clearly not a catcher.
Sure.
I don't know, do you stick him in left or right? I mean, his metrics weren't so good at right field last year. I just wonder if that's going to affect his overall value. But I love his bat. I mean, he has a very good bat. I wonder if he's gonna have enough discipline to truly be an elite bat. But I mean, the power's there, power potential's there. I love his swing too; it's so fluid. But I just have about his defensive abilities long term. But I do like him as a breakout player, but just for his bat, not as a player as a whole.
I mean, he could sling it from left field. Just saying, 93.5 led the league in throwing velocity from left.
Yeah, yeah. I just wonder because he's been a
I don't
catcher his
know.
whole
He
life.
can improve behind the plate. I know he's a bad catcher. Fine, stick him at first base. Stick him in DH, left, right, wherever he can
Vinny
improve.
Pasquantino's first base.
That's true, actually. Yeah, but give him a solid position. Let him grow there. He can be a player for the. I mean, the Royals suck. Let him man a position. He's one of their best players. Let him own it. That's what I say.
Second breakout player is on the Brewers, Aaron Ashby. He has some of the nasty stuff in the league. He hasn't put it together yet. He still has command issues. He still walks a little too many batters, but man, the swing and miss stuff is absolutely there. Um, just watch his pitching ninja videos. He It's off the charts. His breaking ball off the charts. He throws mid 90s. He does have health concerns. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he struggles this year. I don't know if the Brewers are gonna move him to the bullpen, or I think he'll just be a dominant closer. I am worried about the fact, but they give him a full season to be a starter. Give him a chance. Man, I think we're looking at someone that could be an absolute ace. He can go on the Corbin Burns track, 100%. But if not, he can even settle in as like a John Gray pitcher, someone who has elite stuff but doesn't seem like he should be. He's not producing the numbers that he should be producing with the stuff he has. But man, I think he's gonna be a solid pitcher this year with upside for so much more, and I think I think he's gonna be the reason why the Brewers could potentially trade either Woodruff or Burns because he steps up and becomes like a number two behind either Woodruff or Burns.
It's a good point. I think they could even trade Ashby potentially. I think I agree with what you said. I like his profile as a pitcher. I like left side what he's doing, um, and fastball profile of it, velo, spin rate. I like. Wait, actually, he doesn't. Is he a high spin rate guy? I actually don't. I don't think he
That's
is.
a
I
good question. I'm not entirely sure.
think he is, but I remember looking. I don't think he is a high spin rate guy, but I still. I mean, watching him, he kind of looks like he would be, but I guess he's not. But I do like how the fastball, the spin. I like how he's looking. Last year he did look good. I know he was. There were the times where he was getting a lot of Ks. Pitchers that have high K rates, I always like ability to get out of a jam. Yeah, he's not a high spin rate guy. But I mean that's actually what I'm going to talk about next. Since guys, you like pitchers high spin rate basically adds velo without adding velo in a
Yeah,
sense. Um, so a couple guys I want to mention Justin Steele.
Justin
Last year,
Steele. Does he have a
um,
high spin rate?
he does. He was one of the highest in the league for starting pitch
Really?
last year. His 24.89 fastball RPM.
Wow,
Keeping hitters
that's
in the
good.
barrel. I was looking at him last year. FanDuel over under K prop, always hammering Justin Steele. You dicing guys up with that fastball slider.
Mm.
Yeah, and he doesn't throw hard either. It's funny. I like guys that throw hard. I like guys that can get the ball by you. But Justin Steele is one of the rare examples that I can point to, along with Nestor, honestly. But even Justin Steele last year, 90 to 91, occasionally 92 on that fastball, riding
Really?
it out, riding it up and out at 24 to 2500 RPM, right, working that slider off of it. He was K'ing guys like crazy at the end of last year. Look for him to continue the same this year. Definitely a breakout pitcher to watch this year. That's why I think the Cubs can be competitive. That pitching will be good enough. I think Steele's going to be right there with them. And this is not a
Who's
breakout guy, just to mention the theme of um, high spin rate. Look at the other dominant pitchers in the league: Glass now, Cole. guys that really ride that fastball up, they can really work with that and then have that profile, the off speed, the curveball slider, whatever it is, working off of that. And I really like pitchers that do that. And notably, one other, I don't know if you're going to say this, I'm not stealing this from you, but Nick Lodelo is another guy like Steele.
Mm,
Probably even better. He can really run it up 97 or
I
higher.
would put Lodolo over Steele
Oh,
as
for
of
sure.
now.
For sure.
Yeah,
Way higher ceiling. I'm just saying, Steele's kind of a
yeah,
breakout. Lodelo's kind of known. But Lodelo's going to be one of the best pitchers in the league, I think, to come. Super, the slider is ridiculous. Spin rate on that's crazy too. Fastball's riding up there, even and has the velo to back it up. And he was K'ing guys like crazy too last year. If you're sports betting, K prop with Lodelo and Steele is insane. Lodelo's a high K guy. He's gonna get you out of jams. He's gonna be an ace.
yeah.
And that's
Lodolo, he just both of
pretty
them
good.
just have command concerns, but that's with
Pretty
every
good
young
too on the ground.
pitcher. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Lodolo and Steele, they both have command issues a little bit, but like I said, that's the case with a lot of young pitchers. I'm pretty sure Lodolo led the league, and hit batters last
that's
year.
yeah.
Steele walks 3.8 per nine, a little on the higher side, but I mean, if you're producing numbers like he did last year at 3.8 walks per nine, it's passable. But if he gets that even below 3.5, he'll be a very good pitcher. And like you said, the Cubs, yeah, they're a sleeper bounce back team. They have a really good rotation, and not really good, but just solid rotation. Who is it? Like Sherman, Tyone,
Stroman
Steele, Wesneski.
Wozniacki is good too. I really like him too.
Who's the fifth? Oh,
Wozniacki's
Hendricks.
not a Wozniacki's not a
Hendricks.
spin rate guy, by the way, but I still
No,
like his
bro, his slider moves like crazy.
yes.
And yeah, Kyle Hendricks.
Kyle Hendricks, or
He's
is it the other guy? Is it
who would the other guy
his
be?
name?
No way, and I think it's be Kyle Hendricks. I think that's the
It was,
five they're gonna roll with.
I'm not a big Kyle Hendricks fan, by the way. I really don't like him, but whatever.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit washed now, but like he'll be a fine number five. So my last breakout pick, I'm gonna go with Reed Detmers. First half of the year, he had the no hitter. He threw an immaculate inning. Actually, no, he did not throw immaculate. He just threw a no hitter. First half of the year, but man, he was just awful. Besides that one start, he walked over like four batters per nine. He didn't strike out anyone at all. He struck out like six people per nine. He was just his ERA was like solid. It was like high threes, but man, he was getting so lucky with his because his peripherals were just so high for his half, and it was just the Angels knew that he was just about to get blown up soon as start, so they sent him down to AAA, gave him a couple starts there, and the moment he came back up, he made a repertoire change. I think he started throwing his he threw his curveball I think harder, with more bite. I think that's what the change was. But man, ever since he got called back up from AAA, ace. He pitched like an ace. He walked like two people per nine. He struck out over nine people per nine. He had the numbers to back it up. And if you look at his overall season numbers, they're pretty good. But a lot of it came from his second half success and repertoire change. And I think he'll step up as the number two this year for Angels behind Otani. I think he's better than Sandoval. I think one half of adjustments is a large enough sample size, and just the improvements he made, I think he's for real. I think I would slot him as number two behind Sandoval, to be honest. But that's not going to happen. Sandoval's going to be number two next year. But I think at the end of the year, we're going to be talking about Detmers as number two and someone the Angels should build around in case Otani leaves in free agency.
Well, yeah, the Angels are going to need him. Just that the Angels wasting Mike Trout and Otani's careers without
Yeah,
pitching because they never can get pitching, and they're going to need Detmers to step up. I'm not as big on Detmers as you are. I don't like him as much. I don't think he profiles really as. He reminds me of John Means. I don't. I like John Means, but those lefties that don't throw particularly hard. That I think he works with the changeup and curveball. They can kind of profile leaving that fastball over the middle, get absolutely crushed. Detmers, I think he profiles a little better. Means is a little more proven, but Detmers has a higher ceiling, I would say maybe. but I just don't see it happening. I don't love on the Angels particularly in that NL West. Um, just I don't love it. I think he might get just obliterated. I know he has good strikeout stuff. I know he has the potential to really be good. I don't see it personally.
Okay.
Um,
Those are all fair arguments.
Let me just mention a couple other guys. I want to mention Brian De La Cruz, especially because the Marlins have been in a lot of news lately with the um, Miguel Rojas trade, but then even more so the Arise trade. And the Marlins are not going to be competitive this year, but I think some of the moves are confusing. I don't understand all of them, but I think they're going to be building something. The pitching for the Marlins will always make them competitive. The pitching will keep them in games. It's really dominant. But I think with increased opportunity, Brian De La Cruz is going to be able to. I think he will be able to get some increased playing time and increased numbers. So I'm looking at the difference in WOBA and xWOBA, which at times can tell a breakout player, can tell luck, as we said. And so number one was actually Ryan Mountcastle, and that's mainly just because of Oriole Park. That's not going to change. He's going to continue to get unlucky next year. But number four was actually Brian De La Cruz, who had negative -0.042 difference in the WOBA to xWOBA. And I'm not really entirely sure why that is, but I know that I was looking at his numbers and he he hits the ball extremely hard. He's in the top percentiles, hitting the ball hard, barrels. So he profiles as a guy to really break out, as a guy to really get into a groove with the Marlins, hitting in a prime role. They need the power. They have no power hitting, so he's going to have to take on that role. Maybe his average dips. Maybe he's not getting on base as much, which is a problem in his game. He doesn't walk enough. He's bad on base. Maybe he walks
Yeah, he doesn't walk enough.
a little more selective, gets a little more walks, but really hit the ball hard. He hits the ball hard enough. He can get some power out of himself. Arise setting him up in front. I do really like Arise. I know it was kind of a weird trade. I still like Arise though. I think the Marlins could work around them too. I think that De La Cruz can really figure it out. Also, terrific arm strength on the outfield, but not the best route runner.
Yeah, I agree. Brian De La Cruz really reminds me of Teoscar Hernandez. If you look at their first like 2 seasons, it's kind of similar. Big power potential, low plate discipline. I think it's a ceiling. I think Brian De La Cruz's ceiling is Teoscar Hernandez, and that's completely fine. I think
Yeah,
that's
I like Teoscar Hernandez. I think as a Oriole fan and watching games, Yankee, Blue Jays, whatever, Teoscar Hernandez scares me as a hitter. I'm always
yeah.
scared when he's hitting. And if you're comparing yourself to Teoscar Hernandez, that's perfectly fine. I think Brian De La Cruz can fit in there well.
I like
Um,
that pick. I really do. I like Brian De La Cruz. Okay, what's the next?
Do you want to start with some prospects you like, or do something else?
We could start our top three favorite prospects, and then we just call it a show,
You bet.
call an
All right.
episode. I think how many minutes are we at? Do you know?
I
Can you
don't know.
see?
I can't see it.
I think it's been. We've covered a lot.
All right. It's cool.
Okay. First prospect. He's a top 10 prospect from the Marlins pitching factory. Yuri Perez. Oh my god. I think he's gonna be the next. I think his comp is the Marlins ace right now. Sandy Alcantara. Just the build he has. He's 6'10", I think. I want to double check that. He's 6'10".
You know his velo? I don't actually know his profile.
His velo is Sandy Alcantara's velo.
So 100.
He's 6'8", 220, like a string bean slinger. He throws mid-90, no, not even mid-90s, high 90s fastball, hard breaking ball, good changeup. He's my favorite prospect. He's my top pitching Actually, no, he's not my top pitching prospect, but he's one of my favorite prospects. He's 6'8", and usually when you when you have a tall pitcher, it's easier for them to struggle with command because you're a pitcher. What would you say about tall pitchers? It's hard to command the ball, right? It's like longer stride.
I haven't seen him. I'm sure he's releasing way out in front, using his size to his advantage. And when you're taller, you're going to be closer home plate when you release the ball. It's going to make it harder on the hitter, and especially when he's already throwing 100, That ball's
Yeah.
going to get on you quick. It's going to be tough to pick up, tough to see, especially I don't know. I think he's probably coming from way up here. That's a tough angle to pick up. So I mean, it's a great prospect to pick out.
He has incredible command for someone his size. He's so polished. He made it to Double A as a 19-year-old. As a pitcher, that is if you made it to Double A as a 19-year-old pitcher, that is an incredible accomplishment. And
It's mental
he
too.
in
I mean, a lot of
Alcantara,
their back.
he's gonna be in the majors next year,
Yeah.
100%. He's gonna be in the majors next year, 100%, unless they manipulate service time.
Just
I don't
possible.
know. I see him coming up in like July. Him and Alcantara are gonna be one of the best duos in the league in the next couple of years. It's gonna be crazy. Keep an eye on him. Yuri Perez.
That's a good answer, Albert. And we can talk about this in another show, but the Marlins have such. We can talk about the Marlins. I love Marlins pitching. The Marlins pitching is just ridiculously good. I know they just traded Pablo Lopez, and we can get into that another time. But I think they should continue to trade pitching. They need more offensive support. If they have all these pitchers, Luzardo I think should go. They can get a lot for him. And even now I'm forgetting his name, but the Taylor Rogers, right? Yeah, they could get
Yeah.
something for him too. And I think they have a lot of pitching, not to spare. Like they need the pitching, but they need offensive support, and they can get a lot for those pitchers who are dominant pitching. Um, so yeah, that's a good pick. So my number one prospect, not my number one, but again, my favorite, like unheralded prospect who's getting more attention is let's go, baby, Jordan Westburg. On the Orioles. He's in AAA. I think he'll make his debut possibly opening day, but probably not. Probably around June. He's a shortstop, second baseman, and he just hits the ball. He's hitting the ball like crazy. 18 homers last season in AAA. High walk rate, gets on base, 129 with RC plus, WRC plus. Hits for average. Plays defensive shortstop well. The Orioles can use an upgrade there. I know I love Jorge Mateo, but with Gunnar Henderson, with Jackson Holiday coming probably 2 years, Jordan Westbrook's a great filler there, or potentially a really good trade prospect to get the much needed pitching the Orioles need. And so I think you should be looking out for Jordan Westbrook's name. Potentially, I think he has the upside of a Whit Merrifield when he was on his game.
I would say with more power.
With more,
Jordan
yeah.
Westbrook with more power.
But someone like that, someone that profiles like that, and I think he could be potentially a batting champion, but we'll see.
I wouldn't. Looking at stats, I'm not so sure, but he'll be a solid player. He'll be a very solid player. I'm thinking Whit Merrifield is actually a really good comp with more power. It's just not an all. I don't know if he'll be an all-star, but he'll be he'll be an everyday player, which is sometimes all you need. You don't need superstars all the time. You just need good everyday regular players, especially when you're a team like the Orioles, who are still, I would say, rebuilding a little bit. They're still rebuilding.
The end of the rebuild, I think the window it should be open after last season. They need to get the pitching.
I don't think the window's gonna be open yet. I think window's 23. I think it's gonna be a slight regression this year for the O's, but we'll talk about that in our record predictions video. My second favorite prospect from the Rays pitching factory, top 50 prospect, Taj Bradley, top pitching prospect in the Rays organization. Oh man, this guy, he reminds me. Actually, I was gonna say Yuri Perez, but he doesn't throw as hard. But they're both big pitchers who have amazing command, strikeout stuff, and he just gives me so much confidence because he's on the Rays. Like I know they're gonna make him into some beast, like they do with a million other pitchers, but he also just has incredible stuff that can rival McClanahan, the Glasnows, and I expect to see him up as well. I think the Rays are going to be making their wild card push like they always do. They're going to need more pitching, and he's going to be better than any deadline acquisition that they can make. And if they make the playoffs, I expect him to be in the playoff rotation. I'm going to say right now, I think he's going to be in the majors next year. He's going to have a big impact. And man, the Rays, McClanahan, Glasnow. We forget about Boz sometimes.
Boz,
Yeah, Shane Baz was hurt last year. He's
bro, he's Humbabe in the 100
Yes,
too.
incredible stuff.
Humble on Shane Boz. He's throwing Glass is my favorite pitcher in the league, personally. Not like probably not the best, but he's my favorite. He's absolutely dynamic. McClanahan is unbelievable. Boz, I think, is the real deal. And don't forget Luis Patino. He's the real deal too.
You
That was
forget
good.
Luis Patino.
And don't
So
forget
much.
Rasmussen. Rasmussen
Who?
is really good too.
Rasmussen. Oh my God.
And so the Rays
Wait, and Eflin. Eflin is their largest free agent signing
and they signed Eflin,
ever.
largest
And
signing
they're
in a
going to
few
turn him
years.
into some good pitcher.
And now
It's
they have
going to be an
that.
amazing rotation.
What's his name again? I'm sorry. Taj
Taj
Bradley.
Bradley. Taj
Yeah.
Bradley.
So that I mean the
It's
Rays and Marlins
incredible. Just so
pitching
rich in
clinic,
talent.
unbelievable. Um, yeah, the Rays are ridiculous with the pitching. I just can't understand. But I'm actually going to go to another pitcher. I'm going to go another A's pitcher. I'm going to go to Ricky Tiedemann on the Blue Jays, Double A left-hander, 6'4", 220. My comp is going to be Chris Sale because he throws like him. If you've ever seen him pitch, he's kind of from the side, winding over, coming not really finishing down, finishing to the side. He grades out as a 60 grade fastball, which is decently high for a scouting grade. Around 97 on the velo. Has that wipeout slider, changeup. If you've seen him pitch, just filthy. He's dotting the outside corner with that fastball. That slider has that Chris Sale like kind of profile to it, where it's coming down into that right-handed hitter's foot. He looks like the real deal. His mechanics look repeatable, even though I don't love the Chris Sale mechanics for health reasons.
Yep, I
But
agree.
if you're gonna take Chris Sale any day in terms of what he's already given you. So, and if he's like that, Blue Jays are gonna be happy with that. So that's what I got on Ricky Tiedemann.
So my last favorite prospect, he made his major league debut. He made his major league debut last year, but he's still a rookie. I would still consider him a prospect. He started last year with the Padres, got traded to the Brewers, in the Taylor Rogers deal that sent Josh Hader to Milwaukee, and now he got traded from the Brewers to the A's. So the Brewers can get William Contreras from the Braves. A three-way trade that sent Sean Murphy from the A's to the Braves. He's not in the top 100 list. It's S3 Ruiz. I don't know if you heard of him. Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him, but I don't even know.
Okay. Well, this guy, I want to double check. Last year in the minors, he stole, I want to say 80 bases. He stole 85 bases, and he has 80 grade speed. He's an elite center fielder. His hit tool is left to be desired. I think if he could be even a league average bat, it'll be a success. Like he'll be he'll be a very good player with his defense and speed. 85 stolen bases. Take into account the fact that bases are larger now. Whenever he gets on base, and he has on base skills. He's a slap, as you know. Remember Blake Snell called prospect a slap dig hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a slap dig hitter. I don't think he'll walk much, but I think he can definitely hit for average. He'll have a low OPB every year, but man, I just want to see a throwback player, someone that just causes so much havoc on the bases, which I think he absolutely can, and he's gonna get so much playing time next year playing for the A's. They're a dumpster organization. He's one of my favorite prospects. I'm in love with the speed hit combo, and I'm just envisioning him being like what Billy Hamilton could never be.
That's a really good that's an exciting prospect. The A's should be excited about that. Stolen bases will
Yeah.
be. I don't know if
They got
MLB's
fleeced on the
ever-
Sean Murphy deal, by the way, but I like what they got. But they should have gotten way more for a
Should've
lead
got
catcher and
more.
Sean Murphy. Yeah,
John Murphy's a really good player, and
really good.
really good. And stolen bases will be up. The larger bases.
He
The
with
I don't know
full
if
playing
they're gonna-
time, he is a 60 plus stolen base guy, 100%. If he gets on base enough, which is his main question, he will be a 60 base stolen guy. 60 stolen base guy.
I don't know if MLB's ever going to put in. I know it was in some maybe minor leagues, maybe affiliated league. The three pickoff minimum maximum rule. which I hate because I think you have to control the
Yeah,
zone.
I hate it too.
But if they end up doing that, which I would hate, only stolen bases will only go up again. So that only plays into that his ability to steal bases, what he is as a player, and other players like that. So that's even better. And one more guy I want to point out is a guy that will be at the major league level this season on opening day. Catcher, who is I think catcher is the most important position. You need to have a solid catcher for the pitching staff, but also offensively. Offensive catcher is so important in the game. Logan Ohape. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry.
Oh, hop.
Ohop. 6'2", 220-pound right-handed hitter. Catcher, 20 plus homer potential is what the scouting report says. And for a catcher, that's huge. At AAA, he lowered his K rate to only 17%, which is perfectly fine. He's got a fast pop time. He's a great defender, and he comes out of the Dan Palumbo system out in Long Island, straight out of high school, drafted in the 23rd round to the Phillies, and has already improved so much. Already in the major league level, already a top 100 prospect. This dude is the real deal. I hope the Angels can really take advantage because it's another player to really build around. And I don't think they will, but I hope they can finally make the playoffs for Trout and Ohtani. But it's a
Yeah,
good player to have on that team.
I agree. Logan O'Hoppe took a major step last year. He broke out in 2021, took another leave in 2022. I think Angels fleeced the Phillies, to be honest. I don't think Brandon Marsh is that good. It was just it was a great trade by the Angels. He should hopefully be their starting catcher next year. What?
Brandon Marsh sucks. It's a terrible trade.
I know. Yeah, I mean Max Stassi, I still think he's a solid catcher. I think him and O'Hoppe, they're gonna be a good catching tandem next year. And I'm looking forward to see what he does. He had a really good minor league season, O'Hoppe. Back-to-back years.
So I mean, there's a ton of other prospects we could point out. We weren't really there was a couple hundred top 100 guys, but we weren't really looking at top big guys.
We didn't want to look at like everyone was like, oh, Francisco Alvarez gonna be good, or Volpe's gonna be good. Like,
I mean, those guys, we'll see. I mean, of course, those guys. We're looking at other players, and I mean, there's even players even further down teams' top 30 list that we could point to. And we could do that another time. I feel
like
like this.
Wesneski is a good prospect, obviously.
Oh
Was Hayden Wesneski
yeah, for
the
sure.
Cubs?
I
Yeah, you
can't
know
believe I thought that we can talk about Brian Cashman and the Yankees another time, but I thought Cashman
him.
was terrible last season. That trade for Efros is just a joke to me. Wesnecki's legit. Slider's legit. Efros is
Yeah,
just Efros is a joke to me. I just can't understand. Um, but I mean, yeah, this is kind of what it's going to be like. We'll go over other stuff. We're going to try to. I mean, there's so many things to
yeah,
talk about.
for sure.
And so that's what we got on Humbabe today.
Yep, we got a lot of topics covered. We'll have more in the future. We don't want to, overdo it first episode. Just a nice little warm up first episode. Get the ball rolling.
The ball rolling, baby. That's
Get
all
the arm warmed up. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Sounds
for
good.
sure.
Yep.